Hi, and welcome to another episode of Piano TV. So today we are going to be discussing a rather loaded topic. We're going to talk about how to improvise chords on the piano for pop music. So this would be where, you go online, you find some sheet music, maybe it's like lyrics and piano music all written out, but it's really complicated. So what we're going to look at today is how to take that sheet and simplify it and arrange it based on having an understanding of chords. So this is the kind of thing that needs to be built up in layers. So today we're just going to start on the foundation layer, how to do the basics. And we're going to start this video with the assumption that you know a little bit about chords already, like how to build a major chord and a minor chord, nothing too crazy. But this is going to be our starting point, and then in the future maybe I'll do more videos to do more complicated improvisations with pop music. Anyway, let's get started. So for our first example, I've pulled out a page of sheet music by Leonard Cohen. It's his really famous and lovely Hallelujah. So you'll see the way this page is written is that it includes multiple instrument parts. You have the vocal line, which is the top line, and that corresponds with the lyrics. So that's the part you would sing. And then below that you have two lines, and this is the official piano part. This is what you'd play on the piano if someone was singing along, but we're going to completely ignore that today. In general, I more or less ignore this because we're going to improvise, right? So up at the top, you'll see you have guitar chords, and then it also tells you the name of the chords up top. This is mainly what we're going to be looking at today. So let's figure out some of these chords. If you've got sheet music home like this and you've printed it off or whatever and you just want to figure it out, I would even just write the chords right here on the page if you don't have them memorized yet. I get my students to do this all the time, and if it's a particularly difficult chord or inversion that I struggle with, I write it down too. So we have C, G, C again, A minor, there's an F over here. And you can see those basically just repeat throughout the whole song. There's only really 4 chords, like most pop music. So to build any major chord, we just have to figure out the first, third, and fifth note of the scale. So for figuring out C would be number 1, E would be number 3, right? Because D would be 2. E would be 3, and then F would be 4, and then G would be 5. 1, 3, 5, that is our C major chord. Our G chord follows the same pattern. We go G, and then the 3 is B, then D. So you see how they all kind of have a gap, like a letter gap in between them. A minor would be A, C, E, and then F major, F, A, C. This is actually nice and simple because there's no black keys to worry about. Okay, so now that we've got our chords written down, it's almost time to improvise. We just have one more thing to figure out first, and that's the rhythm. Most pieces you learn are going to be in 4/4 time, but Hallelujah is in 12/8. So we have to look at this a little bit differently. It basically just means whatever pattern we invent, it has to stick to the laws of 12/8. And those laws are, well, if you divide 12 in half, you get 6. So 12/8 is kind of like 2 patterns of 6. And you can sort of see this in the piano arrangement. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's going to be the case for most 12/8 songs. You're probably not going to come across a ton of 12/8 songs, but in general, they go in groups of 6. So my opening chord is C major. C, E, and G. An easy 6-note pattern with any 3-note chord is doing the first 3 notes broken and then stretching up an octave. So my C chord, I start on C, and then I land on a top C, an octave higher at the next C, and then I come back down. So I go C, E, G. Basically just repeating the notes I've already played. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that kind of sounds like the pattern in the song, doesn't it? So when in doubt, always listen to the original recording just to get a sense of how they're using the rhythm. But I mean, this is a good rule of thumb if you're in 6/8 or 12/8. Our chord pattern for the first part of the song is C. So I'm going to play through this chord pattern, and I'm not even looking at the sheet music right now. I'm just looking at the chords, and I'm going to do these patterns of 6 notes. An A, back to C, an A, to F, G, then I land on C. I just kind of switched it up at the end. So that was basically playing the whole left-hand pattern of the song in the 12/8 rhythm. So this means that based on where the chords are placed in the sheet music, I was playing each chord pattern once. So I was going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are a couple of directions I can go now. So I can either play the piano accompaniment only, which means you're not going to hear the tune of the song. So this is what you would do if you were going to sing the tune, or someone else was singing and you were playing the piano. So that's option 1. Option 2 is I could play the melody on the piano. This is ideal if you're playing this piece as a piano solo. There's no singing, no one else is singing with you, you're not singing, just so you can hear the tune. So I want to look at the first option first, how I might do piano accompaniment only. So the easiest way to do this, that chord pattern, the 6-note pattern that I was doing earlier, I'm going to turn that into a right hand pattern because that frees up my left hand to do bass accompaniment. So same pattern. Try to hit the right notes there. So now I've kind of shifted it all basically just up an octave into my right hand. It's a little bit more difficult to play, but it allows me to do held whole notes in the left hand while my right hand's playing like this. And without that bass note, this sounds nice. There's nothing wrong with this, but adding that bass note adds a little bit of oomph. So it's pretty easy to figure out what to play in the left hand. I just play whatever the letter name of the chord is. So if it's a C chord, I play a C. If it's an A chord, I play an A. If it's an F chord, I play an F. And it's as simple as that. And you can we're not gonna get too crazy today, but you could spice it up by doing like a descending bass line like this. B, A, G, F. So I just added a couple walking tones in between the chord tones. So if we're going from C to A to F, it kind of sounds nice to walk to the A and then to the F. So that's just even getting a little bit complicated today, but that's something I might do. So the other option that we had mentioned is piano solo style. So this means that you're going to be playing the tune of the song on the piano as well as doing the background pattern. The easiest way to do this is to play the melody in the right hand, it's just typical, and then the harmony, the background, in the left. So my right hand is pretty straightforward in the song. I'm not going to worry about reading the rhythm too much, since I'm mostly playing by sound, by ear. So the chord pattern is the same as what we talked about at the beginning of this video. The most important thing when playing melody and harmony together is always keep this undercurrent of harmony going. Don't let this chord pattern get interrupted by the melody. So I'm gonna try to show you what I mean. Here's what it's gonna sound like together, first of all. I wasn't really reading the sheet music, but that's the gist of it. So that's what it would sound like if I was playing it correctly and the rhythm had no interruptions. But what happens sometimes when you add a melody to a consistent pattern like that is it has a tendency to force its way in. So say you're playing the beginning, G, 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 A, and you don't think you've played enough G's in the first pattern, your right hand might do something like this. It's easy to focus on the right hand and then all of a sudden the left hand has a hiccup. So it's really important if you're improvising to just make sure you're maintaining the rhythm throughout the whole thing. And if you have to let a G slide and you miss a couple notes or the right hand messes up a little bit, it's okay. It's better to interrupt the right hand pattern than the left hand. So at its simplest, that is really all there is to it. You print off or you use your tablet and put up some sheet music and chords. You can either play it with piano solo style with the melody in the right hand or accompaniment style where you or someone else would sing, and then you build it up in layers. This is a very no frills style of improvisation because like I said at the beginning of the video, this is like the foundation level. And today, we're not going to discuss how to add fills or complicated harmony or more in-depth bass lines. We're just going to keep it to this. And once you're able to do this kind of improvisation easily, that's when you can go in and make the arrangement more complicated. And that is all for today's video. In the next video, I'm going to explore explore more on this topic. We're going to do another sort of similar video, except in the next one, we're going to talk a little bit about how to pluck out a melody by ear, so without reading any music at all. And this would be the kind of thing where you type in blah, 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 pop song chords, like Leonard Cohen, Hallelujah chords, and they just give you the lyrics. They don't give you an actual tune. So we're going to do a little bit of a preliminary discussion on how to pick that out. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys next time. That is a toilet flushing.